Hi there, and welcome to this very special episode. You've just found what might be the most complete English learning video on YouTube. If you're serious about improving your English, your vocabulary, your grammar, your pronunciation, your confidence, then stay with us until the end. This is not just another lesson. This is a full English course, a complete guide to help you speak English fluently. We've created this immersive podcast so you can listen while walking, cooking, or just relaxing. So sit back, press play, and let English enter your life naturally. Sophie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sophie, and I'll be learning alongside you in this video. I've been studying English for a while, but there's always room to improve. What I love about this podcast is that it's natural and friendly, not boring or complicated. We're going to talk like real people and use examples that make sense. And the best part? You can just listen. No pressure. No stress. It's okay if you don't understand everything at first. Just let the language wash over you. That's how real learning begins.
Exactly. In today's video, we'll go through all the essential topics you need to know. First, we'll start with pronunciation and the alphabet. Then we'll talk about greetings and how to introduce yourself. We'll continue with vocabulary about family, home, daily life. Then we'll move on to tenses, past, present, and future, and teach you how to talk about your memories, your plans, and your dreams. You'll also learn 50 of the most important English verbs, tips to avoid the most common mistakes, and expressions for work, travel, and everyday conversations.
Wow, that sounds like a lot. But don't worry, we'll go step by step. You don't have to remember everything at once. Just listen, and if you can, repeat some words out loud. It really helps. This video is like your personal English immersion time. And remember, you can always pause, rewind, or come back to it later. That's the beauty of this format.
Tom. And if you like this content, don't forget to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with friends who want to learn English too. Your support helps us keep going and create even more free, high-quality lessons for everyone. Also, in the comments, tell us your level in English and what's the most difficult thing for you. grammar, pronunciation, or vocabulary. We read everything. Sophie.
And one last thing before we start. Stay with us until the end, because we have a review section that brings everything together and gives you powerful repetition exercises. These will help you remember better and speak more naturally. So, if you want to get the full benefit of this course, don't skip ahead. Just follow the rhythm and let yourself enjoy the process.
Tom. Great. Now let's begin. We're going to start with the very basics, the English alphabet and pronunciation rules. Even if you think you already know them, stay tuned. You might discover something new or fix small mistakes you didn't know you were making. Ready?
I'm ready! Let's go!
Tom. Now that you're ready to improve your English, let's start with the basics. The alphabet and the sounds of English. Many learners think they can skip this part, but if you want to speak clearly and be understood, this is where everything begins. Don't worry. We'll make it simple and practical. I'll guide you through it step by step, and Sophie will repeat after me so you can do the same at home. Sophie.
Sounds great. I know the alphabet, of course, but I always get confused with pronunciation. Why does the same group of letters sound so different sometimes?
Excellent question, Sophie. English has a lot of spelling surprises, but today we're going to focus on the most common sounds so that you can start understanding how English works. Let's begin with the 26 letters of the alphabet. I'll say each one slowly. You at home, repeat them out loud, just like Sophie. Tom. A, B, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Sophie.
A, B, C, D. Okay, that was easy, but I already noticed that the letters sound a bit different from French or Spanish.
Exactly. Some letters sound very different. For example, the letter H is always pronounced in English. We say house, not ouse. And the letter R is much softer in English than in French. It's almost like a light R sound. Let's go over 4 important letters together. Repeat after me. Tom. J like juice. H like happy. R like red. W like water. Sophie.
Juice, happy, red, water. I see what you mean. The sounds are not always what I expect.
Tom. That's totally normal. Now let's talk about vowels. There are 5 main vowels: A, E, I, O, and U. But here's the trick. Each vowel can sound different depending on the word. Let's take the letter A. It sounds different in these 3 words: cat, cake. Car, Sophie.
Cat, cake, car. Wow, same letter but 3 different sounds.
Tom. Yes. And that happens a lot in English. Let's try a few more vowel examples. Repeat after me. Tom. Red, B. Sit. Bike, hot. Go. Cup. Blue. Sophie.
Red, B, sit, bike, hot, go, cup, blue. That's a lot of variety.
Tom. Yeah, and you don't need to memorize everything right now. Just listen and repeat. Your ear will learn with practice. Let's go now to consonants. Most of them are more regular, but some combinations are new if you speak a Latin language. Let's try some important ones. Repeat after me. Tom. Think. This. Chocolate. Shoe. Phone. Right. Knee. Sophie.
Think. This chocolate. Shoe. Phone. Right. Knee. Wait. We don't pronounce the W in right or the K in knee.
Tom. Exactly. These are called silent letters. English uses them a lot. The word thumb ends with a B, but we don't pronounce it. The word calm has an L, but you don't hear it. It's strange, but you'll get used to it. Sophie.
So the best advice is to listen to English and not just read it.
Tom. That's right. If you only look at the words, English will seem confusing. But if you listen more, everything becomes easier. English has rhythm, stress, and melody. Let's finish this section with a simple tip. Repeat after me slowly. Tom. Practice makes progress. Sophie.
Practice makes progress.
Tom. Exactly. Not perfection, but progress. And now that you know the alphabet and the main sounds of English, you're ready to start using the language in real life. In the next part, we'll teach you how to introduce yourself and have your first conversations in English.
I'm excited. Let's do it.
Let's move on to something super useful. Greetings and everyday conversations. This is the part that can really change your life if you're traveling, working, or living in an English-speaking country. People often underestimate how powerful simple phrases are. Just being able to say hello correctly and naturally can build trust and open doors.
I agree. And to be honest, even though I've studied English before, sometimes I hesitate when I have to say, "How are you?" or "Nice to meet you." I don't want to sound awkward.
You're not alone. Many learners feel the same. That's why we're going to practice the basics together. And we'll repeat them so you can memorize them easily. Let's start with greetings. Imagine it's your first time meeting someone. You want to say hello in a friendly but simple way. Here are the basics. Repeat after me. Hi. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Hi. Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Perfect. Notice that hi is more casual. Hello is a bit more neutral. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening are more formal or polite, especially when you don't know the person well. Let's go further. After you say hello, what comes next?
Maybe, "How are you?"
Exactly. But here's where English gets interesting. There are many ways to ask that same question. Let me show you a few. How are you? How's it going? How have you been? What's up? How are things?
Okay, I've heard those, but I didn't always know how to answer. Are they all used in the same situations?
Not exactly. How are you? Is the most standard and polite. How's it going? Is casual and friendly. How have you been? Is great if you haven't seen the person in a while. What's up? Is very informal, like between friends. How are things? Is also casual and shows you're interested.
Let me try. Hi, how have you been? Is that good?
Perfect. Now let's practice answers. There are many possible answers, but we'll go with the most common. Repeat after me. I'm good. Thanks. And you? I'm doing well. Not bad. Pretty good. I've been busy, but I'm okay.
I'm good, thanks. And you? I'm doing well. Not bad. Pretty good. I've been busy, but I'm okay.
Great job. These are the most natural answers. Avoid saying, I am fine, thank you, in a robotic tone. It's not wrong, but it sounds like a school book. In real life, people speak more casually.
That's a good tip. Now, what if you meet someone for the first time?
Good question. That's when introductions are useful. Let's pretend we're meeting for the first time. Hi, I'm Tom. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Tom. I'm Sophie. Nice to meet you too.
Perfect. Now, let's learn different ways to say that. You can say, pleased to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Great to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. It's a pleasure to meet you. Great to meet you.
All of those are polite and friendly. Now let's move on to basic everyday conversations. These are sentences that help you at the store, in a restaurant, or in daily life. Repeat these phrases after me. Can I help you? I'm just looking. Thanks. How much is this? Where is the bathroom? I don't understand. Can you repeat that, please? What does that mean?
Can I help you? I'm just looking, thanks. How much is this? Where is the bathroom? I don't understand. Can you repeat that, please? What does that mean?
Excellent. These phrases will help you in 90% of situations. Let's add a few more useful expressions. Excuse me. Sorry. No problem. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Excuse me. Sorry. No problem. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Great. These are simple but powerful. Many English learners forget to say, excuse me, or sorry, and that can come across as rude, even if it's not on purpose.
I see. Using polite language helps you sound more fluent and confident, right?
Absolutely. It shows you respect the language and the people. One last tip before we close this section. Smile and speak. Even if your English isn't perfect, people will appreciate your effort more than you think. And now you already have everything you need to start a basic conversation in English.
Thanks, Tom. I feel more confident already.
You're doing great. In the next part, we'll dive into numbers, dates, and how to talk about time. These are things we use every day, and mastering them will make your life much easier. All right, Sophie. Now that you're confident with greetings and everyday conversations, let's explore another essential part of daily English. Numbers, dates, and time. These are key when you're booking appointments, talking about your birthday, or even just telling someone the time. And surprisingly, many learners make small mistakes here that can be avoided easily with a bit of practice.
Yes, I admit that numbers still confuse me a little, especially when people speak fast or use big numbers. And dates in English feel very different from what I'm used to in French.
That's completely normal. English has its own logic, but once you get used to it, it's really not too bad. Let's begin with the basics. Numbers from 1 to 20. Repeat after me slowly, and we'll say them together again later, more naturally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Now from 11 to 20. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Excellent. You'll notice that from 13 to 19, they all end in teen. That's something many learners confuse with the multiples of 10, like 30, 40, 50, and so on. Let's try those now. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100.
Perfect. Let's take a moment here. 30 and 13 sound similar, but the stress is different. In 13, the stress is on the second syllable. 13. In 30, it's on the first. 30. Listening carefully and repeating them out loud is the key to not confusing them.
That's a really helpful tip. I didn't know that stress could change the meaning.
Yes, and that happens in many English words. Now, let's look at larger numbers. I'll say a few examples and explain how they work. 123, 3,500, 10,000, 100,000, 1,000,000.
Okay, so we combine the big units and small ones together?
Exactly. And in spoken English, we usually say "and" between the hundreds and the rest, like 120. You can practice by saying numbers from your life, your birthday, your phone number, your address, prices, and so on.
My birthday is the 14th of February. How would I say that?
Great question. That brings us to dates, which work a little differently in English. There are two main ways: British English and American English. Let's stick with the more international one, which is closer to the British style. You would say February 14th or the 14th of February.
Ah, okay. So we switch the order sometimes?
Yes, but both are correct. In written form, Americans usually write the month first. Zogu 14 to 23. British English would be 14 2023. But when you speak, you say February 14th. You can also add the year, February 14th, 2023.
I see. And how do I say the full date of today?
If today is March 3rd, 2025, you'd say, today is March 3rd, 2025, or the 3rd of March, 2025. Both are accepted.
Perfect. And now, how do I ask and tell the time?
Good question. Let's start with how to ask the time. The most common phrases are, what time is it? Do you have the time? Could you tell me the time, please?
What time is it? Do you have the time? Could you tell me the time, please?
Very good. Now let's talk about telling time. In English, we usually say the hour first, then the minutes. For example, it's 2 o'clock. It's 2:15. It's 2:30. It's 2:45.
So, 2:15 means 15 minutes after 2?
Exactly. But we also have expressions like, it's 2:15, 15 minutes past 2. It's 2:30, 30 minutes past 2. It's 2:45, 15 minutes before 3.
I love those expressions. 2:30, 2:45. They sound so British.
Yes, and they're still used in daily life, especially in the UK and other English-speaking countries. Americans use them too, though they might prefer the exact numbers, like 2:15. It depends on the speaker.
And if I want to say the time in the morning or afternoon?
You add AM for morning and PM for afternoon and evening. For example, it's 8 a.m. morning. It's 7 p.m. evening.
Understood. So if it's 3:30 in the afternoon, I say it's 3:30 p.m., right?
Perfect. You've got it. Now let's finish this section with a few useful phrases related to time. What time does the train leave? I'll be there at 10 o'clock. It's time to go. Let's meet at 6. The meeting is at noon. See you at midnight.
What time does the train leave? I'll be there at 10 o'clock.
It's time to go. Let's meet at 6. The meeting is at noon. See you at midnight.
Fantastic. You now have a solid foundation for understanding and using numbers, dates, and time in English. These are essential for daily communication, and mastering them will give you more confidence in all kinds of situations.
Thank you, Tom. This was super useful. I already feel more prepared.
Great to hear. In the next part, we'll dive into describing people, objects, and places so you can start painting pictures with your words. Great, Sophie. Now that you can talk about time, numbers, and dates, let's move on to something really useful in conversations. Describing people, objects, and places. When you can describe things clearly, your communication becomes much more precise and expressive.
Yes, that's something I really want to improve. I often struggle when I want to describe someone or talk about how something looks.
Exactly. Let's start with something simple. Describing a person. You can describe someone using their appearance, personality, or what they're wearing. Let me give you a few examples. She is tall and has long brown hair. He wears glasses and has a beard. She is friendly, intelligent, and a little shy.
So I can use words for physical features and also adjectives for personality?
Yes. And adjectives usually go before the noun in English. For example, a small dog, a beautiful city, an interesting book. Not like in French, where the adjective often goes after the noun.
That's a bit hard to remember, but I'll practice.
Let's try together. I'll describe a person, and you try to repeat or change a few things. She is young, tall, and has blue eyes. She's wearing a red jacket.
Okay, she is young and tall. She has blue eyes. She wears a red jacket.
Perfect. Now let's describe a place. Think about a city, a room, or a park. Use adjectives like beautiful, quiet, old, modern, crowded, or peaceful. For example, this city is very old and full of history. The park is quiet and peaceful with many green trees. My room is small but cozy.
Can I try one?
Tom, of course.
My kitchen is big and modern. It has white walls and a lot of light.
Very good. That's a great description. Now let's talk a little about the order of adjectives. Because in English, when you use more than one adjective before a noun, there's a certain order we usually follow.
Really? Like what?
Yes, it's not a strict rule, but here's the usual order: opinion, beautiful, ugly, nice, horrible. Size, big, small, tiny. Age, old, young, new. Shape, round, square. Long. Color, red, blue. Black. Origin, French, Chinese, American. Material, wooden, plastic, metal. Purpose, sleeping, as in sleeping bag. Cooking, as in cooking pot. So you would say, a beautiful small old French wooden chair.
Wow, that's a lot. But I see what you mean. You wouldn't say wooden, beautiful, small French chair.
Exactly. It sounds strange to a native speaker. But don't worry too much. Just try to practice, and you'll start to feel what sounds natural.
Thanks. That's really helpful. Can we talk about people's personality now?
Yes? Let's. Here are some common adjectives for personality: kind, friendly, serious, funny, shy, confident, generous, lazy, hardworking, honest, polite, rude. You can say things like, "She is very kind and always helps others." "He's a bit shy, but very intelligent." "They are friendly and love meeting new people."
That's useful. Sometimes I want to say someone is genteel in French, but I forget the English word.
In that case, the best translation is kind or nice. Be careful, genteel doesn't mean gentle in English. Gentle means soft, calm, not rough.
Ah, yes, a false friend. I'll remember that.
Let's do a little practice exercise. I'll describe a few people, and you tell me if they sound nice or not. Person 1. She is always smiling, helps her coworkers, and listens carefully. Person 2. He never says thank you, interrupts others, and speaks loudly in meetings.
Person 1 sounds nice and polite. Person 2 seems rude and maybe a little arrogant.
Exactly. Great job. Now let's go further and combine everything. Describe a person's appearance and personality. Try this one. She is tall with curly black hair and dark eyes. She's very generous, but sometimes a bit impatient.
She is tall, has curly black hair and dark eyes. She is generous, but a bit impatient. Did I say it right?
Perfect. You're making real progress, Sophie.
Thank you. I feel more confident now when I describe someone.
One last thing before we end this section. Adjectives that change meaning depending on the context.
Oh? Like what?
For example, the word mean. If I say, he is a mean person, it means he is not nice. But in another context, mean can also be a verb, as in, what does this word mean?
Right. I've seen that before, and it confused me.
Yes, context is everything. Another example is cool. It can mean not warm, but also awesome or stylish.
English is full of surprises.
That's true, but you're handling it very well. Let's now move to the next part, where we'll work on common verbs and expressions that you can use every day. So, now that we've talked about expressing time, dates, and numbers in English, it's time to move on to something that you'll use every day. In almost every conversation, describing people, objects, and places. This is one of the most practical skills to develop when learning English. Being able to talk about someone's appearance, personality, or describe your city, your home, or an object you love. It's what makes communication real and personal. In this section, we'll go through a lot of useful vocabulary and structures that will help you describe things in a clear and natural way. And remember, even if you already know some of this vocabulary, hearing it used again and again in full sentences and examples will help you remember it better and speak more fluently. So stay with us. Repeat the examples out loud and take notes if you need.
Exactly. Let's begin with describing people. When you meet someone new, you might want to talk about how they look. In English, we usually start with general information, then go into more detail. For example, you can say, "She is tall and slim," or "He has short, dark hair and green eyes." Here are some very common adjectives you can use to describe physical appearance. Tall, short, medium height, slim, thin, average build, muscular, overweight, young, middle-aged, old, beautiful, handsome, cute, attractive. She has long blonde hair. He wears glasses. She has a kind smile. He's bald. She has freckles. He has a beard. Now let's put some of those into full sentences so you can hear them in context.
Sure. Listen and repeat after me. My friend Anna is very tall and slim. She has long, curly brown hair. My grandfather is old and has a white beard. He is always smiling. My little brother is short and has straight black hair. He is very cute. These are the types of descriptions you'll use all the time, especially when you're talking to friends or telling a story.
Now let's talk about personality traits. This is just as important as physical descriptions. It helps you describe what kind of person someone is. Some common positive adjectives are friendly, kind, generous, honest, funny, patient, hardworking, creative, calm. And some less positive traits are lazy, selfish, rude, shy, impatient, jealous, aggressive. Let's try a few full sentences to practice. Repeat after me. She is very kind and always helps her friends. He is funny and makes everyone laugh. She can be a little shy, especially with strangers. He is rude and never says thank you.
Excellent. That's very useful. Now let's shift gears and talk about describing places. You might want to talk about your home, your city, your favorite restaurant, or a country you visited. When we describe places, we often use adjectives to talk about their size, color, feeling, and style. Here are some useful adjectives: big, small, modern, old, clean, dirty, noisy, quiet, beautiful, peaceful, crowded, expensive, cheap. Let's build some examples. My apartment is small, but very cozy. It's in a quiet neighborhood. Paris is a big and beautiful city. It's full of history and amazing food. The restaurant is very modern and always crowded on weekends. My school is old, but the classrooms are bright and comfortable.
To make your descriptions more vivid, you can also use some prepositions and extra details. For example, there is a big window in the living room. There are many small shops near the park. The house has a red roof and a beautiful garden. Also, don't forget useful structures like there is, there are, which are essential when describing things around you. For example, there is a big table in the center of the room. There are 2 chairs next to the window. There is a mirror on the wall.
Great. Now let's combine some of what we've learned so far into one longer description. Listen and try to repeat. I live in a small but comfortable apartment. There is a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a bedroom. The living room is bright with a big window and 2 green chairs. My bedroom has a small desk and a bed near the window. It's a quiet and peaceful place to study. See how all of this comes together? You describe what's there, how it looks, and how you feel about it.
Exactly. The more you describe, the easier it gets. And the more you listen and repeat these types of sentences, the more natural it will become to use them in real situations. Describing people, objects, and places is really the foundation of good conversation in any language. And now, before we end this part, Here's a little challenge for you, dear listener. Choose one person, one object, and one place that are important in your life, and try to describe them out loud using what you just learned. Use full sentences. Don't worry if it's not perfect. The key is to practice regularly.
And if you want, you can even write your descriptions in the comments. We love reading them. Tell us about your home, your favorite city, your best friend, whatever you feel like. Practicing like this is one of the best ways to progress.
Now let's move on to another essential topic: food and meals. Talking about food is something that comes up very often in everyday conversation. Whether you're sharing your favorite dish, describing a recipe, ordering in a restaurant, or talking about your last vacation. And because food is such a cultural topic, learning how to talk about it in English makes your speech more natural and expressive. Let's begin with the basics. Common meals of the day. In English, we usually say breakfast, the first meal of the day, usually in the morning. Lunch, the meal in the middle of the day. Dinner, the main evening meal. Some people also say supper, especially in more traditional or rural English-speaking communities. Now here are a few example sentences you can repeat after me. I usually eat toast and eggs for breakfast. For lunch, I often have a sandwich and a salad. We had pasta and vegetables for dinner last night. Do you want to go out for dinner tonight?
Perfect. Next, let's explore types of food and food groups. This will give you the vocabulary to talk about your diet, your preferences, and even your allergies or restrictions. In English, we have these basic categories: fruits and vegetables, apples, bananas, oranges, carrots, potatoes, broccoli, grains, rice, pasta, bread, oats, cereal, proteins, chicken, beef, fish, eggs, beans, dairy, milk, cheese, yogurt, butter, sweets and snacks, chocolate, cookies, chips, cake, candy, drinks, water, juice, soda, coffee, tea, wine. Let's use some of those words in real-life examples. Repeat with me. I try to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables every day. Do you prefer rice or pasta. I don't drink coffee in the evening. This chocolate cake is delicious.
Now let's talk about expressing likes and dislikes. This is super important when you're speaking about food. The most common verbs are I like, I love, I enjoy, I don't like, I hate, I can't stand. Here are a few examples. I love Italian food. I don't like spicy food. She enjoys trying new recipes. He can't stand seafood. Now you try. Do you like sushi? What's your favorite dish? I hate onions. I really enjoy cooking with my friends.
Speaking of cooking, let's take a look at some common verbs related to cooking and preparing food. These will be very useful if you want to follow recipes or talk about what you're making. Here are some important ones. Boil. Boil the water before adding the pasta. Fry. She fried the eggs in a pan. Bake. He baked a chocolate cake. Grill. We grilled some chicken for lunch. Chop. Chop the vegetables into small pieces. Mix. Mix the flour and eggs together. Add a pinch of salt. Try repeating some full sentences with me. I love to bake cakes on the weekend. Chop the onions and fry them in olive oil. Grill the meat for about 10 minutes. Don't forget to add some herbs for flavor.
Now let's take you to a restaurant. This is one of the most useful contexts to master, especially when you travel. Let's go over common phrases you'll hear and use. Can I see the menu, please? I would like the chicken, please. Can I get this without cheese? Could we have the bill, please? That was delicious, thank you. Here's a small conversation example. Waiter. Hello, can I take your order? You. Yes, I'll have the grilled fish and a salad, please. Waiter. Would you like something to drink? You. Just water, thank you. Waiter. Of course, I'll be right back.
Good. Now let's talk about shopping for food. When you go to the supermarket, you might hear or use these phrases. Do we need anything else? I'm going to buy some fruit and bread. Where's the dairy section? Let's get something for dinner. Can I pay by card? And here's a little story to help you remember. This morning, I went to the supermarket to buy some groceries. I bought apples bananas, a loaf of bread, and a bottle of milk. I also picked up some cheese and a pack of cookies. At the checkout, I paid with my card and put everything in my reusable bag.
That's perfect for everyday situations. Before we end this part, let's go over some useful expressions and idioms related to food, just for fun. These expressions are common in conversations and will make you sound more fluent. It's not my cup of tea. It means I don't really like it. He's full of beans. It means he's very energetic. She spilled the beans. It means she revealed a secret. That's the icing on the cake. It means that's something extra and wonderful. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Too many people involved can ruin the result. Let's use them in sentences. I tried the new restaurant, but it's not my cup of tea. My little brother is full of beans today. She spilled the beans about the surprise party. The bonus at work was the icing on the cake. Let's not involve everyone. Too many cooks spoil the broth.
That's a great way to end this section. Now, we invite all of you listening to write in the comments. What's your favorite dish? Do you enjoy cooking? What's one food you can't stand? Practice your English. We'll read your comments and maybe even reply. All right. Now let's dive into another practical topic: housing and daily life. This is essential vocabulary if you ever live in an English-speaking country, rent a place, or simply want to talk about your home, your routine, or where you live. Let's begin with types of housing. In English, we have several common types of homes. House, a detached or semi-detached home, usually with a yard or garden. Apartment, flat, a unit in a building shared with other residents. Studio, a small apartment with one main room. Condo, similar to an apartment, but usually owned instead of rented. Shared house, where several people live together and share common spaces. Dorm, short for dormitory, usually for students. Here are some example sentences you can repeat. I live in a small apartment in the city center. She just bought a beautiful house in the countryside. We share a flat with 2 other people. He rents a studio near the university.
Great. Now let's move on to the rooms in a house and what you typically find there. In a standard home, we have living room, where people relax, watch TV, talk. Kitchen, where meals are prepared and sometimes eaten. Bathroom, with a toilet, sink, and usually a shower or bath. Bedroom, where people sleep. Dining room, where meals are formally eaten. Garage, a space to park your car. Garden, yard, outdoor area, often with plants or grass. Let's try a few common phrases. My bedroom is small but cozy. We're cooking dinner in the kitchen. There's a big TV in the living room. Our house has 2 bathrooms. They have a beautiful garden behind the house.
Perfect. Let's talk now about furniture and household items. This is vocabulary that will help you describe your home or ask for things when you're shopping. Bed. I bought a new bed last week. Sofa. Couch. Let's sit on the sofa and watch a movie. Table. There's a round table in the dining room. Chair. I need a new office chair. Fridge, refrigerator. The fridge is full of food. Oven. Stove. She put the pizza in the oven. Sink. There are dirty dishes in the sink. Closet. Wardrobe. He keeps his clothes in the closet. Mirror. There's a mirror above the sink. Bookshelf. I have a bookshelf full of novels. Practice these phrases. Can you put the groceries in the fridge? I always leave my keys on the table. My closet is too small for all my clothes. Let's clean the kitchen after dinner.
Now that we know how to describe a home, let's go over some daily routines. Being able to talk about your daily life is essential in conversation. Most routines involve actions like waking up, eating, going to work or school, doing chores, and going to bed. Here's a simple example of a daily routine. I wake up at 7 a.m., I brush my teeth and take a quick shower. Then I get dressed and eat breakfast. After that, I go to work by bus. I usually work from 9 to 5. In the evening, I cook dinner, watch a little TV, and then go to bed around 10:30. Now, let's break down some useful verbs related to daily routines. Wake up. I wake up early on weekdays. Get up. I get up as soon as my alarm rings. Brush your teeth. I brush my teeth twice a day. Take a shower. He takes a cold shower every morning. Get dressed. She gets dressed quickly before school. Eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. We usually eat dinner at 7. Go to work, school. I go to school by bike. Do homework, study. He studies every night. Relax. I like to relax after work. Go to bed. She goes to bed at midnight. Try using them. What time do you wake up? I go to work at 8 a.m. He relaxes with a book in the evening. They get home late on Fridays.
Very helpful. Now let's talk about chores. Things we do regularly to keep our homes clean and organized. These words are very useful, especially if you live with other people. Do the dishes. I always do the dishes after dinner. Take out the trash. Can you take out the trash tonight? Clean the bathroom. She cleaned the bathroom yesterday. Vacuum the floor. We vacuum the house every weekend. Mop the floor. He mopped the kitchen this morning. Make the bed. I make my bed every morning. Do the laundry. I need to do the laundry today. Water the plants. Don't forget to water the plants. Here's a short story to help. On Saturday mornings, I usually clean the house. I start by making my bed, then I vacuum the living room and mop the kitchen. After that, I do the dishes, take out the trash, and do the laundry. It's a lot of work, but I feel better when everything is clean.
Now, let's explore how to talk about problems at home. Sometimes you may need to report an issue or ask for help. Here are a few common phrases. The light doesn't work. There's a leak in the bathroom. The sink is clogged. We need to fix the heater. The washing machine is broken. You can also ask questions like, can you call a plumber? Who can fix this? How much does it cost to repair a window? It's useful to describe problems like this, especially when speaking to a landlord or a technician.
That's very true. And finally, let's wrap up this part with a few conversation questions that you can practice with a partner or in the comments. What kind of home do you live in? Do you live alone or with others? What's your daily routine like? What chores do you hate the most? Have you ever had to fix something in your house? Write your answers below or practice saying them aloud. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The more you speak and listen, the more natural English will become. Welcome back. Let's keep going with something really useful for daily conversations. Talking about the weather, time, and seasons. These topics often come up in small talk and are essential for travel, planning your day, or just having a casual conversation. Let's start with time. Here are a few basic words and phrases. What time is it? It's a very common question. It's 7 o'clock. It's 10:30. It's 2:45. It's 5 minutes past 9. You can also say things like, I wake up at 6 a.m. We have dinner at 8 p.m. The movie starts at 7:30. AM is used from midnight to noon, and PM from noon to midnight. Now, how do we ask and answer questions about time? Try this dialogue. What time does your class start? At 9 o'clock. And what time does it end? It finishes at 12.
Great. Let's now move on to the days of the week and months. These words are very important when making plans or talking about your schedule. Days of the week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some examples: I work from Monday to Friday. Saturday is my favorite day. Do you have time this Sunday? And now the months of the year: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You can say, my birthday is in March. We're traveling in August. It's very cold in December. Let's now practice a short routine with all this vocabulary. I wake up at 7, go to work at 8, and finish at 5. I rest on Saturdays and visit my family on Sundays. In July, I take a vacation. In December, I celebrate Christmas with my family.
Perfect. Now, let's move on to seasons. In English, we have 4 seasons: spring, March, April, May; summer, June, July, August; autumn, fall. September, October, November. Winter, December, January, February. Depending on where you live, the seasons might feel different. For example, in spring, flowers bloom and the weather becomes warmer. Summer is hot and sunny. People go to the beach. Autumn is cool. Leaves fall from the trees. Winter is cold, and sometimes it snows. Practice with these sentences. I love the colors of autumn. Spring is perfect for going outside. Summer is too hot for me. Do you like winter sports?
Now let's explore the weather vocabulary. This is a topic people love to talk about. Here are some basic expressions. It's sunny.
It's raining.
It's snowing. It's windy. It's cloudy. It's foggy. It's hot. It's cold. It's warm. It's freezing. It's stormy. You can add expressions like, the sun is shining. There's a lot of wind today. It's going to rain later. Let's practice a few full sentences. It's very cold today. Don't forget your coat. Tomorrow will be sunny and warm. I love it when it snows. It was raining all day yesterday. The weather is perfect for a picnic.
Let's add some useful expressions we often use to talk about the weather and time in casual conversation. What's the weather like today? Do you know if it will rain tomorrow? It looks like it's going to snow. The forecast says it will be sunny all week. You can also talk about how the weather makes you feel. I feel sleepy when it rains. I get happy when the sun is out. I don't like cold weather. Hot weather makes me tired. Now imagine this short conversation. How's the weather today? It's sunny and warm. Perfect. Let's go for a walk. Good idea. Don't forget your sunglasses.
Let's do a mini story using the vocabulary we've learned. Last weekend, I went to the mountains with my family. On Saturday, it was sunny and perfect for hiking. We walked for hours, enjoyed the fresh air, and took many photos. But on Sunday, the weather changed. It was cloudy in the morning, and by noon, it started raining heavily. We stayed inside our cabin, drank hot chocolate, and played board games. It was a perfect weekend with sunshine and rain, a bit of everything. Now it's your turn. Try telling a short story about your last weekend and include details about the time, day, and weather. You can write it down or say it out loud.
That's a great exercise. Here are some questions you can use to practice more. What's your favorite season and why? What do you usually do when it's sunny? How do you feel when it rains? What time do you usually wake up? Do you prefer hot or cold weather? Remember, the goal is to listen often, repeat out loud, and make this vocabulary a part of your everyday language. If you want, you can leave your answers in the comments or use them to talk with a friend or teacher. All right, let's continue. In this part, we're going to talk about one of the most exciting topics in any language: travel and transportation. Whether you're planning a trip or just talking about past vacations, this vocabulary is super useful. Let's start with some basic questions and answers. Where are you going? I'm going to Paris. How are you getting there? I'm taking the train. When are you leaving? Tomorrow morning. And now a few common words: airport, bus station, train station, subway, taxi, car, plane, bike, motorbike, boat, tram, ferry. Example sentences: I'm going to the airport. I travel by bus every day. He arrived at the train station at noon.
Great start. Now let's talk about booking and planning a trip. Here are some useful expressions. I'd like to book a flight to London. Do you have any tickets available? How much is a ticket to Madrid? Is this a direct flight? What time does the train leave? I need a round-trip ticket. At a hotel, you might say, I have a reservation. I'd like to check in. Can I see the room? Is breakfast included? What time is checkout? Let's try a short dialogue. Good morning. I'd like to check in. Of course. Do you have a reservation? Yes, it's under the name Sophie Martin. Perfect. Here's your room key. Breakfast is from 7 to 10. Thank you.
Perfect example. Let's now describe some useful phrases while traveling. Where is the nearest bus stop? How long does it take to get to the airport? Can I walk there? I need a taxi, please? Is there public transport nearby? Can I pay with a card? And here are some full sentences you might hear or say. Excuse me, how do I get to the Eiffel Tower? You can take the metro. It's just 3 stops. I think we're lost. Let's ask someone for directions. The bus is late again.
Now let's move on to transportation problems. Because, well, they happen. Here's some helpful vocabulary. Delay, canceled, lost luggage, traffic jam, missed the train, full bus, strike, engine trouble. Some example sentences. Our flight was delayed by 2 hours. The train was canceled due to the strike. I missed the bus because I woke up late. There was a huge traffic jam on the way to the airport. We lost our luggage at the airport. And now a short story. Last summer, I traveled to Italy. Everything was going well until I arrived in Rome and discovered my luggage was missing. I had to fill out a form, wait in line, and hope it would be delivered to my hotel. Thankfully, it arrived the next day. Always keep your important items in your carry-on.
That's a great story and a good tip. Let's now look at common expressions about travel experiences. Have you ever been to Japan? Yes, I went there last year. Did you like it? Yes, it was amazing. The food was delicious, and the people were very friendly. Other examples. I love traveling to new places. I visited New York last summer. I want to travel more. One day, I'd love to go to Africa. My dream is to see the northern lights.
Let's wrap up this section with a mini conversation. What's your favorite way to travel? I really enjoy taking the train. It's comfortable and relaxing. And your favorite destination? I loved visiting Lisbon. The city is beautiful and full of charm. Do you like road trips? Yes, especially when the scenery is great. And here are a few more expressions you can practice. Pack your bags. We're leaving early tomorrow. Don't forget your passport. Let's check the map. The hotel has a great view. We arrived just in time.
That's it for this travel section. But don't go anywhere. In the next part, we're going to explore food, meals, and eating out in English. You'll learn how to order at a restaurant, describe food, and talk about your favorite dishes. Stay with us and keep practicing.
Now that we've practiced describing people, emotions, and places, let's switch topics and dive into something that's part of everyday life: food and drinks. Everyone loves food, and knowing how to talk about it in English is incredibly useful. Whether you're ordering at a restaurant, grocery shopping, or simply sharing what you like to eat.
Let's start with some basic categories. First, we have types of food: vegetables, fruits, grains, dairy products, meats, sweets, snacks. Then drinks: water, coffee, tea, juice, soft drinks, alcohol. Here are a few common phrases and sentences related to food that you can repeat after me and try to memorize. I like pizza. I don't eat meat. Do you have any vegetarian options? I'm allergic to peanuts. Can I have the menu, please?
What do you recommend?
I would like a glass of red wine. I'll have the chicken with rice. Is this dish spicy? Can I get this to go? The food is delicious. The soup is too salty. I'm full. Could I have the bill, please?
Great phrases, Emma. And now, let's go deeper with vocabulary. First, let's name a few vegetables: carrot, onion, garlic, tomato, lettuce, spinach, broccoli, pepper, cucumber. Fruits: apple, banana, orange, grape, strawberry, watermelon, peach, mango, pineapple. Dairy: milk, cheese, butter, yogurt, cream. Meats and proteins: beef, chicken, pork, lamb, fish, shrimp, egg, tofu, beans, lentils. Grains: rice, pasta, bread, cereal, oats, quinoa.
Let's now imagine a scene at a restaurant. I'll describe what's happening and use lots of useful expressions you can pick up. You're at a French cafe. A waiter brings you the menu. He says, "Here is the menu. Would you like something to drink?" You respond, "Yes, I'd like a sparkling water, please."
A few minutes later, he asks,
Are you ready to order?
You say, "Yes, I'll have the pasta with tomato sauce." After your meal, he asks,
Would you like dessert?
You reply, "No, thank you. Just the bill, please." These phrases are extremely common and helpful. Let's repeat some expressions together. I'd like. I'll have. Can I get. The food is great. The coffee is strong. I don't like spicy food.
Now let's practice speaking by imagining simple dialogues. What would you like to drink? A glass of orange juice, please. Do you want something to eat? Yes, I'd like a sandwich. Is this dish vegetarian? No, it has chicken. Repeat each line out loud. The goal here is not to memorize everything perfectly, but to get used to the natural rhythm and structure of English when it comes to food-related topics.
Exactly. And food is a great topic to use when you're learning adjectives. For example, you can say, "This cake is sweet." "The soup is hot." "The pizza is delicious." "The salad is fresh." "The fish is salty." Try building your own sentences. "The mint cheese is kicking." For example, "The coffee is bitter." "The cheese is soft." "The bread is warm."
Let's now imagine you're cooking with a friend. Here are a few common kitchen verbs: to chop, to boil, to fry, to bake, to grill, to mix, to stir, to taste, to peel. Let's make simple sentences. I'm chopping the onions. She is boiling the eggs. They are baking a cake. He is grilling some meat. We are stirring the sauce. These everyday actions help you become more confident with verbs and sentence structures.
Let's end this section with a few cultural tips. In English-speaking countries, food habits and expressions can vary. For example, in the US, people often say, "Can I get?" instead of "I'd like." It's informal, but very common. In the UK, you might hear, "I fancy a cup of tea." That means, "I feel like having tea." Food is also a way to connect with others. Asking, "What's your favorite dish?" or "Do you like cooking?" is a nice way to start a conversation in English.
So remember, food vocabulary is essential, fun to learn, and very practical in everyday conversations. In the next part, we'll focus on another key element of your English journey, talking about the future. You'll learn how to make plans, express intentions, and predict what's going to happen. Stay with us. This journey is just getting better. See you in the next section.
Let's now talk about one of the most useful and empowering topics in any language: how to speak about the future.
Being able to express your plans, dreams, or more intentions is essential to holding real conversations. In English, there are several ways to talk about the future, and today, Lucas and I are going to guide you through the most common and practical forms. First of all, the future can be expressed in English in several ways. You can use will, going to, the present continuous, or even the simple present in some contexts. Don't worry, we'll make this simple and fun. Let's start with the most basic and most used form. Will plus base verb. Examples: I will travel next year. She will call you tomorrow. We will study English tonight. Will is often used when you make a decision at the moment of speaking, when you promise something, or when you predict something in the future.
Exactly. For example, if someone says, "I'm tired," and you reply, "I'll make you some tea," that's a decision you've just made. It wasn't planned before. Let's do some repetition. I will help you. He will arrive soon. They will be here at 8. It will rain tomorrow. You will love this movie. Now let's move on to going to. We use going to talk about intentions or plans that we've already decided. It's also used for predictions based on what we see or know. For example, I'm going to visit London next month. She's going to start a new job. It's going to snow. Look at those clouds. So, let's practice. I'm going to learn English this year. He's going to cook dinner tonight. They're going to buy a new car.
Nice. Now, let's compare. If I say, I'll call you later, it means I just decided. But if I say, I'm going to call you later, it means I had already planned to do it. Let's do a little exercise together. Imagine you see a friend crying. You say, I'll help you. Instant decision. But if you already planned something, like going to the gym at 6, you'd say, I'm going to the gym at 6.
And now, let's explore another way to express the future using the present continuous. Yes, you can use I'm plus verbing to talk about future arrangements, especially with other people. For example, I'm meeting my boss tomorrow. We're having lunch at noon. They're coming over this evening. This is often used when the plan is fixed, with a date or time. Practice these examples with us. I'm seeing the doctor on Monday. She's flying to Paris next week. We're watching a movie tonight.
So, to sum up, will Eka's decision now, promise, prediction. Going to Eka's intention, already decided. Present continuous is arrangement.
Simple present als for scheduled events, especially transport.
Yes, even the simple present can be used for timetables or fixed schedules. The train leaves at 9. The class starts at 10. The movie begins at 7:30. Let's try this together. My flight leaves at 8 a.m. The bus arrives at noon.
The shop closes at 6.
Now that we've learned the different forms, let's move into more conversational practice. I'll ask some questions, and Emma will answer. Then you can try answering too, aloud. What are you going to do this weekend? I'm going to relax at home. Where will you be in 5 years? I hope I'll be working abroad, maybe in Canada. Are you doing anything special tonight? Yes, I'm having dinner with friends. Now you try. What will you eat tonight? Say your answer. What are you doing tomorrow morning? Say your answer. This type of practice helps your brain get used to building sentences naturally.
Let's now practice with some key future expressions. Next year, tomorrow, in a few minutes, soon, later, next week, in 2025, tonight, in the future.
Make your own sentences using these time markers.
Next year, I will. Tomorrow, I'm going to. Soon, I'll. Tonight, I'm. Here are some examples. Next year, I will take an English course. Tomorrow, I'm going to visit my grandma. Soon, I'll speak better English. Tonight, I'm watching a new movie.
This is how we integrate new structures into real life use. The more you repeat, the more natural it becomes. Now let's try a mini story using the future. Imagine this. Sarah is 20 years old. She studies English every day because she's going to move to Canada next year. She's going to apply to a university in Toronto. She will study hard and make new friends. She hopes that in 5 years she will speak English fluently, find a great job, and live in a nice apartment. Next week, she's meeting with her language teacher to discuss her goals. try to repeat parts of the story or even tell your own story using the future.
Great. So today we've seen how to talk about the future in English with will, going to, present continuous, and simple present. You've also practiced vocabulary, sentence structure, and even storytelling. In the next part, we're going to learn how to express opinions and preferences in English. You'll learn to say what you like, dislike, and how to explain your ideas clearly. Stay with us and keep repeating out loud.
Now that you can speak about the future, let's move on to another essential topic for everyday conversation: how to express your opinions and preferences in English. Think about this. Every day, we tell people what we like or dislike, what we think about things, and how we feel. If you can do this in English, you'll feel much more confident and natural when talking with others. We'll look at simple and effective expressions you can use, and we'll practice them together. I'll start with some basic phrases. To express your opinion, you can say, "I think that," "I believe," "In my opinion," "Personally, I think," "I feel that." Let's practice with examples. I think that learning English is important. I believe everyone should learn a second language. In my opinion, French movies are fantastic. Personally, I think grammar is difficult, but necessary.
Yes, and those phrases are super useful because they are polite and clear. When you give your opinion, you are opening a conversation, and it's good to do it respectfully. Now, if you want to ask someone's opinion, you can say, "What do you think about?" "How do you feel about?" "What's your opinion on?" "Do you agree with?" Let's see them in action. What do you think about online learning? How do you feel about studying alone? What's your opinion on traditional grammar exercises? Do you agree with using apps to learn? Lucas, what do you think about learning with podcasts?
Oh, I think learning with podcasts is amazing. It helps you improve your listening skills, your vocabulary, and you can do it anywhere, while cooking, walking, or driving. And now, let's talk about preferences. To express your preferences, you can use I like, I love, I enjoy, I prefer, I'm a fan of, For example, I like learning new words. I love watching movies in English. I enjoy speaking with native speakers. I prefer studying in the morning. I'm a fan of British accents. Try repeating after me. I like learning English. I love grammar exercises. I enjoy listening to music in English. I prefer online courses. I'm a fan of American series.
And if you want to talk about what you don't like, it's simple. Use I don't like. I hate. I'm not a fan of. I can't stand. Let's try. I don't like studying alone. I hate memorizing long lists. I'm not a fan of written exams. I can't stand confusing grammar rules. Lucas, is there anything you don't like about learning languages?
Yes. I can't stand irregular verbs. I always forget them. But I know practice helps. Let's do a small dialogue with opinions and preferences. And you, listener, can answer too. Do you like learning vocabulary? Yes, I enjoy discovering new words. What do you think about learning grammar? I think it's important, but not always fun. Do you prefer studying in the morning or at night? I prefer the morning. I have more energy. Now it's your turn. Do you enjoy learning English? What's your favorite way to learn? What do you think about speaking with native speakers?
Let's now practice using all these expressions in a small storytelling exercise. I'll tell you about a student and his learning habits. Pay attention to how he expresses opinions and preferences.
Meet Daniel. He's 28 years old and lives in Brazil. He started learning English 1 year ago. Daniel thinks that learning English will open many doors for him. He believes it will help him get a better job.
He prefers studying early in the morning when his mind is fresh. Every day, he listens to podcasts on his way to work. He loves listening to conversations between native speakers. He also watches TV series in English. He's a big fan of British crime dramas. In his opinion, watching without subtitles is a great way to improve listening skills. However, Daniel doesn't like writing essays. He finds it boring, and he can't stand making the same grammar mistakes over and over. But he keeps going. Why? Because he enjoys learning something new every day. And he believes that with practice, he will become fluent. Try telling your own story like Daniel. Use expressions like,
I think that I enjoy. I prefer. I can't stand. I believe. Lucas.
Let's go even further and do a small quiz for practice. Answer out loud. What do you prefer? Watching movies or reading books in English? Do you like learning with grammar books? What do you think about learning with music? Do you enjoy speaking with other learners? What do you hate about learning languages? Answer in full sentences. For example, I prefer reading books because I learn more vocabulary. I don't like grammar books. I prefer interactive exercises.
Emma. Excellent work. We've now seen how to express opinions and preferences in English using real-life sentences and context. In the next part, we're going to explore how to survive in everyday situations like shopping, going to the doctor, taking a taxi, and more. You'll learn the essential phrases and how to sound confident. Let's keep going. You're doing great. Lucas.
Let's move on to something very useful. Everyday survival phrases in English. Imagine you are traveling, living abroad, or just talking to someone in English in your own city. You need to know how to ask for help, order food, buy something, take a taxi, or go to the doctor. These situations happen every day, and knowing a few essential expressions can make your life much easier. In this part of the podcast, we'll go through the most important phrases you need to survive in real situations. We'll also explain how and when to use them, and you can repeat after us to practice.
Emma. Yes, and this is one of my favorite parts because it's so practical. These are the kind of phrases that will help you feel more confident and safe when you're in a new environment. So let's start with one of the most common situations: asking for directions. If you are lost or you're trying to find a place, you can say, "Excuse me, where is the nearest? How can I get to? Is this the way to? Can you help me find?" Let's try some examples. Excuse me, where is the nearest bus stop? How can I get to the train station? Is this the way to the museum? Can you help me find a pharmacy? These are polite and simple, and native speakers will be happy to help you if you ask like this. Lucas.
Great. Now imagine you're at a restaurant. Here are some must-know phrases. I'd like to order, please. Can I see the menu? What do you recommend? I'll have the chicken, please. Can I get this without onions? Could I have the bill, please? Let's practice. I'd like a coffee and a croissant, please. I'll have the pasta without cheese. What do you recommend for dessert? Also, don't forget to say thank you. And please, these small words make a big difference.
Emma, now let's talk about shopping. Whether you're in a clothing store, a supermarket, or a souvenir shop, these phrases will help. How much is this? Do you have this in a different size? Can I try this on? I'm just looking, thank you. I'll take it. Can I pay by card? Example. How much is this t-shirt? Do you have this in size medium? Can I pay in cash? Lucas.
Another important situation is using public transportation or taking a taxi. These are essential if you're traveling or living in a big city. Where can I buy a ticket? How much is a one-way ticket? Does this bus go to the city center? I'd like to go to this address. How long will it take? Please stop here. Examples. I'd like to go to the airport, please. How much is the ride? Can you take me to this hotel?
Emma. And now something a bit more serious. Going to the doctor or the pharmacy. Even if you're in good health, it's good to know how to describe a problem. I'm not feeling well. I have a headache, stomach ache, sore throat. I need something for a cold. I have an allergy. Can I see a doctor? I'd like to buy some medicine. Examples. I'm not feeling well. I think I have a fever. I have a sore throat and a cough. I need something for my stomach. Do you have something for allergies? Lucas.
Perfect. And here's a little trick. If you forget the name of something, or you don't know how to say something, use this phrase. How do you say this in English? What's the word for this? I don't know the word, but it's like, this shows that you're trying, and people will help you.
Emma. Yes, exactly. And it's totally okay to make mistakes. The goal is to communicate, not to be perfect. Let's now create a mini dialogue using all these survival phrases. I'll play the role of a tourist, and Lucas will be a local person helping me. Emma, excuse me, how can I get to the museum? Lucas.
It's just down the street. Turn left at the traffic light, and it's right there.
Emma. Thank you. And do you know a good place to eat? Lucas.
Yeah, There's a nice cafe 2 blocks away. It's called La Terrace. I recommend the quiche.
Emma, thanks. And one more thing. Where can I buy a metro ticket?
You can buy it at the station or in the tobacco shop on the corner.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
So simple, but so useful. Let's challenge our listeners now.
You will hear a short situation. Try to think about what you would say in English. Ready? You're lost in a new city. What do you ask someone? You want to order a vegetarian meal in a restaurant. What do you say?
You need to buy a train ticket. What do you ask?
You have a headache and go to the pharmacy. What do you say?
Take your time. Pause the podcast if needed. And practice out loud. Then go back and listen to our examples again. In the next part, we'll help you go one step further, having deeper conversations and talking about personal experiences in English. It's going to be fun and very useful. Now that we've covered survival phrases and everyday situations, let's take it to the next level. One of the best ways to improve your English and build real human connections is by learning how to talk about your personal experiences. This is the kind of English that makes people feel something. You're no longer just asking for directions or ordering coffee. You're telling your story. In this section, we'll teach you how to describe moments from your life, share memories, express emotions, and even talk about your future plans or past mistakes. These are the conversations that make your English feel alive and meaningful.
Yes, and this is where language becomes more than vocabulary. It becomes emotion. So let's start with some expressions that help you talk about your past.
If you want to describe something that happened before, you can use expressions like, when I was a child, a few years ago,
I remember when.
one day, back then, I used to. For example, when I was a child, I loved playing in the garden with my dog. A few years ago, I traveled to Japan, and it completely changed me. I remember when I had my first job. I was so nervous but excited.
These kinds of phrases help open the door to longer conversations. You're giving people a piece of your life.
That's right. You can also talk about important life events using simple and clear past tense verbs. For example, I graduated from university in 2018. I moved to Canada last year. I started learning English 2 months ago. I got married in 2020. I changed jobs because I wanted something new. Notice that we're using simple past tense for completed events, and you don't need to make it complicated. Use I plus verb plus time, and you already sound fluent.
Now let's add emotions. When you talk about your life, people want to know how you felt. Here are some useful expressions. I felt so proud. It was really hard for me. I was completely surprised. I'll never forget that day. I was scared, but I did it anyway. For example, I moved to a new country alone. It was really hard at first, but I learned so much. I remember my first day of school. I was scared, but I made a new friend right away. I'll never forget the moment I spoke English with a native speaker for the first time. I was so proud.
Beautiful examples. And now, let's talk about describing personal habits and routines. These are expressions like, I usually wake up at. On weekends, I like to. I often. I try to. Every day, for instance, I usually wake up at 6 a.m. and start my day with a short walk. On weekends, I like to read or go to the market with my family. I try to practice English at least 15 minutes a day. Even if your life feels normal or boring to you, it's interesting to others, especially when they are learning a language.
Absolutely. You can also talk about future plans using simple expressions like, I'm going to. I plan to. I hope to. I'd like to. One day I want to. Let's hear some examples. I'm going to travel to Europe next year. I hope to pass my English exam in December. One day I want to open my own cafe. I plan to move to another city to find a better job.
Sharing your dreams and plans is a powerful way to connect with people. It makes conversations more human.
Now let's give our listeners a little challenge. We'll ask a few questions, and they can pause the podcast, think about their answers, and maybe even say them out loud in English. Are you ready? What is a memory from your childhood that you still remember clearly? Have you ever done something that made you really proud? What do you usually do on weekends? What are your goals for the next year? Can you describe a moment when you were really happy or really scared?
These questions are simple but powerful. If you answer them honestly, even in basic English, you'll build your confidence, and you'll also be able to use these answers in real conversations.
Let me give one of my answers, just as an example.
One memory I still remember clearly is my first solo trip. I was 20 years old and I went to Italy by myself. I felt so free and excited. I got lost in Venice, ate so much pasta, and made new friends from around the world. It was one of the best experiences of my life.
See, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to tell your story.
Perfectly said. So, if you're listening to this now, we want to encourage you to pause. Think of a story from your own life and tell it out loud, even if you make mistakes, even if you don't have the right words. That's how fluency starts, by speaking about what matters to you. In the next part of our podcast, we're going to dive into one of the most important skills: understanding native speakers. We'll talk about fast speech, slang, and how to train your ears to understand better. So stay with us. This is only getting better. All right, let's move on to one of the biggest challenges for English learners: understanding native speakers. It's something almost everyone struggles with at some point. You listen to a movie, a podcast, or a conversation, and it just sounds like a fast river of words. You can maybe catch a few pieces, but you don't really understand everything. That's normal, but it's something we can work on, and you'll see it gets easier with time and the right strategies.
Yes, and let's be honest. Native speakers don't always speak slowly. In fact, they often speak fast. They connect words together. They use slang, and they don't always pronounce every syllable clearly. For example, the sentence, "What are you going to do today?" often becomes, "What you gonna do today?" That's a huge difference from how it's written in textbooks.
Exactly. And the first step is not to panic. You don't need to understand every word to understand the message. Think about it. Even in your native language, do you always hear every word clearly? Probably not. Your brain just fills in the gaps. So, we want to train your brain to do that in English too. Let's start with a few key techniques.
The first technique is something we call shadowing. That means you listen to a short piece of audio, maybe one sentence or two, and you try to repeat it at the same time as the speaker, like a shadow.
You're not only practicing pronunciation, but also rhythm and speed.
Let's try a short sentence together. I'll say it normally first, then again slowly.
I'm gonna go grab some coffee. Wanna come?
Now slowly. I'm gonna go grab some coffee. Wanna come? You can pause this podcast, repeat it out loud, and then try it again at full speed.
Nice one. Another important thing to learn is how words connect. In English, when people speak fast, the sounds flow together. This is called connected speech. For example, did you eat becomes did ya eat? I want to becomes I wanna. Going to becomes gonna. Let me becomes lemme. Give me becomes gimme. So when someone says, "Lemme help you," it's just, "Let me help you," but faster and smoother.
And this is where real listening practice comes in. The best way to get used to this is by listening to natural conversations, like this podcast, podcasts, YouTube videos, series with subtitles, interviews. All of that helps. You should listen every day, even if it's just 10 minutes. Repetition is your best friend. Also, you don't always need to understand 100%. Just expose yourself to the sounds, to the voices, to the music of the language.
Right. Let's give our listeners some everyday phrases that native speakers say fast and how they really sound. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? I don't know. I don't know. Give it to me. Give it to me. What's up? Sup? How are you doing? How you doing? Let me see. Let me see. These are the things you'll hear in movies and in real life. And if you know them in advance, your brain will recognize them more easily.
Let's also talk about slang and informal expressions.
English has a lot of casual phrases that don't appear in grammar books. And if you only study textbook English, real conversations will feel very confusing. Here are a few common examples. Hang out means to spend time with friends. Chill means to relax. No way means I don't believe it or that's crazy. I'm broke means I have no money. I'm beat means I'm very tired. So if someone says, I'm beat, let's just chill and watch a movie, that just means I'm tired. Let's relax and watch something.
Yeah. And this is why it's helpful to keep a real English notebook where you write down phrases you hear in songs, movies, or conversations. Phrases that sound cool or useful. Over time, you'll start using them naturally. Now, before we move on, let's try a short mini quiz with our listeners. I'll say a sentence with connected speech, and you try to guess what it means. I'm grab lunch. Do you want to go? Gimme a sec. What you doing later? I don't know, maybe. Pause the podcast and try to guess. Ready for the answers? I'm going to get lunch. Do you want to go? Give me a second. What are you doing later? I don't know, maybe.
That's a great exercise. Do it often. Listen to fast English and then try to decode it. It's like solving a little puzzle. It trains your ears. And remember, you don't need to understand everything to understand enough. Trust yourself. Your brain is smarter than you think.
We hope this section helps you feel more confident when listening to native speakers. In the next part of this podcast, we are going to focus on building your fluency step by step, even if you only have a few minutes a day.
Stay with us, because the best is yet to come.
So now that we've talked about listening to native speakers and training your ear, let's move on to something just as important. Building fluency every single day. Yes, every day. Because consistency is the secret. Not perfection, not intensity. Consistency. It's better to study 10 minutes every day than 3 hours once a week.
Absolutely. Think of fluency like a muscle. If you go to the gym one time for 5 hours, you won't see much progress. But if you go every day for 20 minutes, you'll build strength. Language is the same. You need daily contact with English to develop automatic responses, faster recall, and a more natural way of speaking.
So let's start with the first big tip: daily repetition. Repetition is not boring, it's powerful. When you hear and repeat the same words and structures many times, your brain starts to recognize them instantly. You no longer translate in your head. You just understand. You just speak. Try this. Pick one short text or a podcast or even a YouTube video you like. Listen to the same 3 minutes of content every day for 1 week. By the 3rd or 4th day, you'll start to understand much more. By the 6th day, you can repeat it without even looking at the transcript. That's how you build fluency.
I love that method. Another great habit is speaking aloud, even if you're alone. This is called self-talk. You can describe what you're doing. I'm brushing my teeth. Now I'm making coffee. I need to go to the store later. It may sound silly, but it's incredibly effective. You're practicing vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation all at once, and it helps you think in English. So, talk to yourself. In the shower, in the kitchen, in the car. It's free, and it works.
Also, try recording yourself. Use your phone. Talk for 1 or 2 minutes on any topic. Then listen to yourself. What sounds natural? What feels strange? Don't worry if you make mistakes. Just notice them. Then do it again tomorrow and the next day. Over time, your sentences will become smoother, faster, and more accurate.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of reading aloud. Pick a book, an article, or a dialogue. Read it slowly. Focus on pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This will help you internalize the melody of English. In fact, many actors and speakers practice like this. They read out loud every day. It's a fantastic exercise.
Now let's talk about a big problem: motivation. It's easy to feel motivated on day 1, but what about day 7 or day 30? That's when routines help. Set a time every day to practice, just like brushing your teeth. It becomes a habit. You can say, every morning with my coffee,
I'll listen to 5 minutes of English. Or, before bed, I'll read 1 page of a book in English. Keep it small. Keep it simple. But be consistent.
Yes. And make it fun. Watch series you enjoy. Follow English-speaking YouTubers you like. Listen to music and sing along. Language learning doesn't have to feel like school. It should feel like a new part of your life. Another tip. Use apps or flashcards for 5 minutes a day. Apps like Anki, Quizlet, or Duolingo can help you review vocabulary and grammar in a playful way.
And of course, one of the best ways to build fluency is to practice with real people. Language exchanges, tutors, speaking groups, online conversations, anything that gets you speaking in real time. Even if it's just once a week, it gives you real practice and real confidence. And don't worry if you make mistakes. Native speakers do too. What matters is communication, not perfection.
Let's summarize a few daily fluency building habits for our listeners. Listen to 5-10 minutes of English daily. Speak out loud to yourself in English. Repeat short dialogues or podcasts every day. Record your voice and listen to your progress. Read aloud for pronunciation and rhythm. Use apps or flashcards for a few minutes daily. Join a language exchange or practice with a tutor. Write short messages, journal entries, or social media posts in English. Learn a new expression or phrasal verb every day. Make English part of your routine, your life.
That's a great list. And if you're listening right now and thinking, I don't have time, here's the truth. You do. You don't need hours. You just need intention. 5 minutes is enough to move forward. 10 minutes is powerful. And consistency beats everything.
Right. And before we end this section, let's give our listeners a small challenge. Try this every day for the next 7 days. Day 1. Listen to a podcast episode and repeat 3 sentences aloud. Day 2. Talk to yourself in English for 2 minutes. Describe your day. Day 3. Read a dialogue out loud, then record yourself reading it again. Day 4. Learn 5 new vocabulary words and use them in one sentence. Day 5. Watch a YouTube video with subtitles and repeat the sentences. Day 6. Write a short paragraph about your favorite movie. Day 7. Review everything from the week and celebrate your progress.
That's such a great plan. If you do that, you'll already feel more confident and more fluent in just 1 week. And if you continue this every week, even for 5 or 10 minutes a day, your English will transform. So now, take a deep breath and say this out loud with us. I am becoming fluent in English step by step every single day.
You got this. In the next part of this podcast, we'll focus on vocabulary hacks, smart ways to learn, remember, and use more words in English without feeling overwhelmed. Welcome back. Now that we've covered how to build fluency every day, let's dive into one of the most exciting parts of language learning: vocabulary. Vocabulary is like the bricks of a house. Grammar is the structure, the cement, but vocabulary gives your language life. You can't say anything without words, so today we're going to explore smart, effective ways to learn and remember more English vocabulary without feeling overwhelmed, bored.
Exactly. A lot of learners feel stuck because they try to memorize long lists of words with no context. That doesn't work. Your brain doesn't like disconnected information, but it loves stories, patterns, and emotional connections. So, tip number 1, learn words in context.
Don't study the word apple by itself. Learn it in a sentence. I eat an apple every morning. Or, she bought a red apple at the market. When you learn a word in a full sentence, you also learn grammar, pronunciation, and real usage, and you're much more likely to remember it.
That's so true. And tip number 2, use what you learn. If you learn a new word today, use it immediately in a message, a post, a conversation, or your journal. The sooner you use a word, the stronger it becomes in your memory. Here's a trick I give my students. Every day, choose 3 new words. Then write a mini story using those 3 words. It can be funny, weird, dramatic, whatever. Just use them together. your brain will make stronger connections.
Tip number 3. Focus on frequency. Not all words are equal. Some words are used every day in conversations. Others are rare. So don't waste your time memorizing hippopotamus or metamorphosis unless you really need them. Instead, start with the most common 1,000 or 2,000 words. These are the words that appear in 80% of spoken English.
You can easily find lists of high-frequency words online. Just Google Top 1,000 English Words and start there. Learn them in phrases, not alone. For example, instead of just go, learn go to work, go home, go shopping.
Another great method is to group words by topic. For example, learn all the words about food one week, then clothes, then travel. This helps your brain build associations. It's like organizing your closet. Everything has a place, so it's easier to find. You can also learn word families. For example, write, writer, writing, written, or happy, happiness, happily. That way, with one root word, you learn 4 or 5 related words.
I love that. And don't forget about visual memory. If you're a visual learner, try using images, flashcards with pictures, or even drawing your own. For example, if you learn the word tree, draw a tree next to the word. Your brain remembers images better than abstract text. Apps like Anki or Quizlet let you add pictures to flashcards. That makes the learning experience more fun and powerful.
Tip number 6. Listen and read a lot. The more English you consume, the more vocabulary you absorb, passively and naturally. If you love watching series or movies, turn on the subtitles. Write down interesting expressions. Then repeat them later. If you enjoy reading, choose graded readers or short stories written for learners. You'll encounter vocabulary in context at your level. Highlight new words, then review them later. And try reading aloud. It helps you learn spelling, pronunciation, and rhythm all at once.
Yes, and repetition is key. You don't need to see a word just once. You need to see it many times. That's why spaced repetition works so well. Tools like Anki are based on this system. They show you a word today, then tomorrow, then 3 days later, then 1 week later, until it's in your long-term memory. But if you prefer notebooks, just make your own review plan. Every week, review the words from the previous days. And be patient. Real learning takes time.
Here's another powerful technique: shadowing. Listen to a short English audio, maybe a podcast or video. Then repeat exactly what you hear with the same pronunciation, speed, and rhythm. This helps you absorb new words and sound more natural. Start slow, maybe with just one sentence. Then move to longer parts. It's great for vocabulary and speaking at the same time.
I also recommend the 3 times rule. When you learn a new word, say it 3 times out loud. Then write it in a sentence. Then use it in a real-life situation. This activates all parts of your memory: auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Let's do a quick example. Imagine you learn the word improve. Say it. Improve, improve, improve. Now a sentence. I want to improve my English. Now use it today. Maybe say it to a friend or in a journal. That's how it sticks.
Great example. And for our listeners, here's a fun challenge for this week. Monday. Learn 5 new words. Write a short story with them. Tuesday. Use the same 5 words in a conversation or voice message. Wednesday. Learn 5 new words. Make flashcards with images. Thursday. Read a short article and highlight new vocabulary. Friday. Record yourself using 10 of the words you learned. Saturday. Watch a video and repeat 10 useful expressions. Sunday. Review everything you learned this week.
That's a full week of vocabulary immersion. If you do this, your word bank will grow quickly. And more importantly, you'll remember and use those words in real life. So remember, don't just study vocabulary. Live it, speak it, use it.
Exactly. And in the next section of our podcast, we'll talk about something very important: how to improve your grammar without boring exercises or textbooks. So stay with us. Let's move on to one of the most feared topics in language learning: grammar. Just hearing the word makes some people nervous. They imagine boring rules, long lists of exceptions, and complicated structures. But here's the truth. Grammar doesn't have to be painful. In fact, you can learn it naturally, just like a child learns their first language through listening, observing, and practicing.
Absolutely. We're not saying grammar is useless. It's important. But it's not necessary to sit with a grammar book for hours and memorize every single rule. Instead, you can understand grammar through usage. You learn the rules by hearing them used correctly many times, and slowly they become automatic. One of the best ways to do this is to listen to native English every day. You'll start noticing patterns. For example, you'll hear, "He goes to school." "She works on Mondays." "He doesn't like pizza." These patterns repeat. Your brain starts to understand how present tense works without a single grammar explanation.
That's right. But for some people, a little explanation can help them feel more confident. So here's a balanced approach. First, observe the pattern. Then get a simple explanation. Then practice. Let's take the past tense. You see sentences like, "I watched a movie." "She played soccer." "We visited our grandparents." You notice that most verbs end in ed. That's the pattern. Then you learn the rule. Regular past tense equals verb plus ed. Easy. Then you practice by creating your own sentences. Don't just say the rule, use it. Talk about what you did yesterday. For example, yesterday I cooked dinner, cleaned the house, and watched TV. Exactly. And this leads to one of the most powerful grammar tips. Learn grammar through speaking. Grammar is not for reading. It's for communication. So practice speaking with the structure you want to master.
Choose one structure per week. For example, this week, practice going to for the future. Say, "I'm going to travel." "She's going to study." "We're going to eat out." Repeat these every day. Change the subject. Add vocabulary. Get comfortable.
That's a great point. And here's another tip. Don't try to be perfect. Perfection is the enemy of progress. When children learn to speak, They make mistakes all the time. And guess what? Adults correct them gently. That's how they improve. So, if you say, he go to school, instead of he goes to school, don't panic. The person will probably understand you. Later, you'll hear the correct version. And over time, you'll improve. Making mistakes is part of the process.
Yes, mistakes are actually useful. They show you what you need to focus on. If you keep saying, he don't like, that's a signal. You can pause and practice that form.
Another helpful method is using mini dialogues. Take a simple grammar point and create a short, natural dialogue. For example, to practice the present continuous. What are you doing? I'm cooking dinner. Are you listening to music? Yes, I'm listening to jazz. Simple, right? But very effective. You can repeat this format with other verbs, other topics, other tenses.
And of course, one of the most common questions is, which tense should I use? That's why I always recommend creating a timeline in your mind. If you're talking about now, present simple or present continuous. If you're talking about yesterday, past simple. If you're planning something, future with will or going to. And if you're talking about something that started in the past and is still true, present perfect. The key is to connect grammar with time and context. That way, you're not memorizing rules. You're expressing meaning.
Here's another useful idea. Watch grammar in action. Find a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a series where people speak naturally. Listen to how they use grammar. For example, if they say, "Have you ever been to Paris?" Notice that they're using the present perfect to ask about life experience.
Then repeat the question out loud and answer it yourself. Yes, I have. I went last year. Or, no, I haven't, but I want to go. This gives you real, useful practice.
You can also try focused reading. Choose a short article and read it slowly. Highlight all the verbs. Ask yourself, what tense is this? Why is it used? Then try rewriting a few sentences in a different tense. For example, change a present sentence to the past. This helps you play with grammar. Not just study it,
And don't forget the power of songs. Many English songs use grammar structures again and again. Present perfect. I've been waiting for a girl like you. Future. I will always love you. Conditionals. If I were a boy. Listen to the lyrics. Sing along. Write them down. This is grammar practice that feels like fun.
So to summarize, here are our grammar hacks. Learn patterns through real examples. Get short explanations, not long grammar books. Practice speaking with one structure at a time. Make mistakes. They help you learn. Use dialogues, songs, videos, and stories. Connect grammar to time and context. Keep it fun, natural, and consistent. Grammar is not your enemy. It's your friend. It helps you say exactly what you want to say. So embrace it with patience and curiosity.
Beautifully said, Lucas. And now that grammar feels a little more friendly, let's talk about something super important. How to speak English with confidence, even if you make mistakes, because speaking is where everything comes together.
Let's do that in the next section.
Now that you feel more comfortable with grammar, let's tackle one of the biggest fears English learners have: speaking with confidence. A lot of people know vocabulary. They understand grammar. They even write well. But when it's time to speak, they freeze. Their mouth doesn't move. Their brain is full of doubts.
Yes, it's very common. But let me tell you something important. Speaking English is not about perfection. It's about connection. It's about expressing your ideas, making someone smile, asking for what you need, sharing your story. That's the real goal. So let's break this down. What blocks you when you speak? Usually, it's fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of looking stupid. Fear of not being understood. But guess what? Every speaker, even natives, makes mistakes sometimes. And nobody expects you to speak like the Queen of England. They just want to understand you.
That's so true. So here's the first step. Change your mindset. Instead of thinking, what if I make a mistake? Think, what if I say something interesting? Instead of thinking, my English is not good, say, I'm learning. Every word I speak makes me better. Confidence doesn't come from waiting until you're perfect. It comes from speaking even when you're not.
Exactly. Let's talk about some practical things you can do to speak with more confidence. First tip: speak out loud every day, even if you're alone. Describe your day. Talk to yourself in English. Repeat lines from movies or podcasts. Imitate native speakers. When your mouth gets used to moving in English, your confidence grows. Second tip: prepare go-to sentences. These are sentences you can use in many situations. For example, "Hi, I'm learning English. Can we talk a bit? Can you repeat that, please? Sorry, I didn't understand. Can you explain?" These phrases are like tools in your pocket. You can use them anytime, and they make you feel safer.
Yes. And here's another idea. Use the shadowing technique. This means you listen to someone speaking and repeat after them immediately, like an echo. You can do this with podcasts, videos, or dialogues. Choose a speaker with a clear accent. Play a short clip. Pause. Repeat. Try to copy their rhythm, intonation, and pronunciation. This is a powerful way to improve fluency and build muscle memory.
Another tip: join a language exchange. There are so many websites where you can speak with native speakers who are learning your language. You help each other. It's free, it's fun, and it gives you real conversation practice. And if you're shy, start with text chats, then move to voice, then video, step by step.
Also, remember this. Don't compare yourself to others. Some people speak faster. Some have a better accent. But maybe you have a bigger vocabulary or better listening skills. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Focus on your progress, not someone else's. Keep a journal of your speaking wins. For example, today I had a 5-minute conversation in English. Or, I asked a question in English and got the answer I needed. These small victories build your confidence.
Yes. And one more thing. And this is very powerful. Smile when you speak. Seriously. When you smile, your voice becomes more friendly. People react better. You feel more relaxed. And the conversation flows more naturally. It may sound silly, but try it. Next time you speak English, smile. It changes everything.
Let's now give our listeners a challenge. For the next 7 days, we want you to do this.
Speak out loud for 5 minutes a day. Shadow 2 to 3 sentences from a podcast or video. Learn and use 3 go-to phrases.
Write down one speaking victory every day.
Smile when you speak, even if it feels strange at first. Do this for 1 week, and I promise you'll feel more confident. Your mouth will move more easily. Your fear will shrink. Your voice will get stronger.
Absolutely. And remember, confidence is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act despite fear. So speak, even if your voice shakes, even if your grammar isn't perfect, even if you forget a word. That's how you grow. We believe in you, and we're proud of you.
You've come so far in this journey. Just one more section to go. In our final part, we'll talk about how to stay consistent, how to keep your motivation alive, and how to create a learning system that works so you can keep improving every single day. Let's do it.
You've made it to the final part of this immersive English journey, and that already says a lot about your dedication. Now let's talk about something that can make or break your progress in the long term. Consistency. We've seen it again and again. Students who are full of motivation for 1 week, then disappear the next. Why? Because they didn't build a system. They didn't create habits. They only relied on willpower, and willpower fades.
Exactly. Motivation is great to start, but it's not enough to keep going. You need a routine, something stable, automatic, and easy to follow. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't ask yourself if you'll brush your teeth today. You just do it. That's what your English routine should feel like. So, how do you do that? First, you need to be realistic. Don't say you'll study 3 hours a day if you know it's impossible. Instead, commit to just 15 minutes a day, every single day. That's enough to create a habit. And once you're consistent, you can increase the time naturally.
Yes, and the secret is to make English part of your daily life. For example, change your phone settings to English. Follow Instagram or TikTok accounts in English. Listen to podcasts while cooking. Watch movies with English subtitles. Talk to yourself in English when you're walking or waiting in line. You don't always need to sit down with a book. Learning can be everywhere.
Another powerful tool is a calendar or a tracker. Every time you study English, even just 10 minutes, mark it. Make it visible. Put a big red cross or a green check mark. And after a few days, you'll feel something inside you. I don't want to break the chain. That's your brain building a habit. And don't forget to celebrate your progress. Every new word, every sentence spoken, every video you finish, every mistake you correct. These are all victories. Don't minimize them.
Totally. Another thing that helps: have clear goals. Not vague goals like, I want to speak better. That's too abstract. Choose something specific like, I want to have a 5-minute conversation in English by the end of the month. I want to understand one full podcast episode this week. I want to write a short paragraph in English every day. Goals give you direction. They give your learning a purpose. And when you reach them, you feel powerful. You feel proud.
And when you feel tired, when you feel like quitting, remember your why. Why did you start learning English in the first place? Maybe it's to travel, to get a better job, to connect with more people, to understand music, movies, or books. Write it down. Read it often. That why is your fuel.
And let's be honest, there will be difficult days. Days when you feel stuck. Days when you feel like you're not improving. That's normal. That happens to everyone. What matters is what you do on those days. Will you stop? Or will you keep going? Here's a tip. When you feel low, change the format. If you're tired of grammar, watch a funny video in English. If vocabulary feels boring, try singing a song. If you don't want to write, speak instead. Just don't stop. Adapt, but don't quit.
That's right. And don't forget, progress is not linear. Sometimes you'll learn fast. Other times it will feel slow. But every day your brain is working. Your neurons are building connections. Even when you don't notice it, you're improving. And here's the truth. Learning a language is not a sprint. It's a marathon. But every step counts. Every word, every effort, every repetition. And the more you repeat, the deeper it goes. Repetition is not boring. It's your best friend.
Before we finish this video, we want to remind you of one last thing. You are capable of speaking English fluently. Not in a year, not in 10 years, but sooner than you think. If you stay consistent, if you keep showing up, if you trust the process. So here's your mission, dear listener. Choose your routine. Make it part of your life. Speak, read, listen, repeat every single day. No excuses, no perfection, just progress.
And if you've reached this point in the video, wow. You are not just learning English. You are mastering it. You are part of the 1% who don't give up, who show up, who commit. So give yourself a round of applause. And if you liked this video, please leave a comment. Tell us where you're from, what your goal is, or how you feel after this journey. Like this video to help more learners find it. And of course, subscribe so you don't miss the next episodes.
We're proud of you. Keep going. And remember, your English is already better than it was before. Just imagine what it will be like in 30 days, 60 days, 1 year. You've got this. See you very soon.